What does that feel like, raising a young family?
I think it was a marvelous experience. I remember the first time that I came to the islands, I was a little overwhelmed thinking, how could anything be as good as Tabor? And because of the people that were in Tabor. And I soon found out that they're wonderful people everywhere as my outlook matured. The community of saints in Hawaii, they're marvelous. They are nurturing. They are loving. When we talk about this aloha spirit, it is really, it's a living thing. And you are embraced in that aloha feeling, that feeling of love. And so for us, we had certain expectations within the gospel standards. That was that's what we did. So in our community, it wasn't a Waikiki community, it was a Latter-day Saint home that we brought our children up in, and that was just things that we did and expectations that we had that were gospel-oriented and gospel standards. We had an interesting experience when our oldest daughter, Erin, was a junior in high school. She and her cousin were the same age, and were the only two Latter-day Saints in their class of, I don't know, over 400 students. It was a large class. And this was a religious-based school initially, but they had decided to hold a prom on Sunday.
Wow.
And this, junior prom is kind of a significant event, and it was interesting. Both she and her cousin came to a decision on their own, but based on church standards and how they had been raised, that this would not be an appropriate activity for them to do on a Sunday. And so they elected not to go. And a few weeks later, I think somehow, I'm not sure how it came about, I don't remember now, but the administration of the school became aware that two students of the junior class did not attend because of it was a religious-based decision that they would not do this on a Sunday. They then made the determination that they would not hold junior prom again on a Sunday, because if it would mean that there would be individuals who would not attend.
Wow.
So it was, we had wonderful experiences like that with our children growing up in Hawaii. It was a heavenly place to raise children.
I don't think it was as difficult as it might seem on the surface, because the atmosphere that the tourists work under and what we as residents operate under, we're just two different worlds. It mixes for some who work in that industry and so forth, but it doesn't have a great influence. Oftentimes people perceive Hawaii based on their thinking of when they go there on vacation and think it's a laid back and easy, because that's what they do when they come. But obviously local residents have a very demanding lifestyle, as most people do, and so our children grew up with academic standards, and my business responsibilities were extremely demanding. It's not a laid-back culture from the standpoint of the people who live there necessarily. It really, I think, is obviously unique in many ways, but not extraordinarily challenging. The church in Hawaii is very established. Missionaries first came in 1850, which is remarkable.
It is.
And so there is a very high, relatively speaking, percentage of Latter-day Saints to the population, more so than any other state outside of probably the Idaho to northern Arizona corridor. But beyond that, there's a higher percentage there. And just on our island alone, I think there's now 12 stakes. So the church is very well established on Oahu. Exactly. And so we were surrounded by that kind of atmosphere. The Hawaii Temple, now known as the Laie Hawaii Temple, was the first temple built outside the state of Utah.
Imagine that.
Except for Kirtland and Nauvoo, of course, but so that's how well established the church is in the islands, and so that was obviously the center of our spiritual life and social life, and blessed our family immensely.